wired attacks or wireless attacks. Both the infection is going to be the same, but then the wireless network things need little more of professionalism, where they're looking at a person's security is concerned, how this person secured his network and how to attack. And the person who's hacking the system, he knows how to hack your system. So that's how I'm going to explain you how to protect your system from a hacker to, against sending his malware in your system. So, what is the effect of malware? Like I said, there are only two things in a malware. When somebody is attacking your system, there's only two things. Either to restrict your data or take your data out. There are only two things. Any system is being infected. This is the basic, the final end result is either they need your data or they wanted to restrict your data. So after they take your data, what all they can do it. Even if somebody is hacking your cell phone, what they wanted to do, either they want all the details on your cell phone or they want to spy on your cell phone, who you're talking to, what is your activity. Basically, there's a pattern behind it, and they wanted to know how it is happening from your side. Everybody is different. And if you're a CEO for a company, and your data is much more valuable than any individual on the roadside. So that's what makes the difference for a hacker. And the more they go, they have to use a better algorithm to attack a person, like a CEO, because he's got a lot of protection level layers. And when we talk about mobile networks, it's all emerging. You know about CDMA, right? Anyone knows what CDMA? CDMA is like the first generation where there is no SIM card installed. If you're looking at your iPad 3 or 2, it comes with a SIM card. It's also enabled with the 3G, and as well as it has got a wireless configuration, which you can configure your port to connect to your existing wireless. Wherever you go, you can connect it. So GSM is also a similar network, but the GSM is you can insert a SIM card and it is in yourself. Wherever you go, you can change the SIM card and activate accordingly. And we are into 2G and 3G. The 2G and 3G differs by the frequency of the network. Basically, it's all 802.11 standards by IEEE, and 802.11 standards for 3G is 100 megabits per second. So it transfers your voice and data in a very speedy manner. And we're looking at fourth generation prototype, still working on it. I know the countries have released, but we are still looking for it. And then these two things are, I don't know how many people know about it, the infrared wireless. That's how previously they connect the printers or any local connector. I'm sure you know about it. So the infrared wireless printers and the devices being connected through this, but then the restriction to this is only 5 meters. Again, the new technology is Bluetooth again. This is 30 meters. As the technology moves on, the problems also moves on. With the Bluetooth, multiple people can get connected, and also people can hack your Bluetooth connected device because you're very open. How to protect a wireless critical updates for your operating system or any application, as well as your antivirus and a malware protection, like your internet firewall, that has to be updated often. And add a firewall to hack, block a hacker's attack to towards your computer basically. And I will talk a little bit later on my further slides. And I mean to say, do not install the programs off the internet. Mean to say, illegal downloads I'm talking about, not the legal downloads, not from a genuine source. It's about illegal download. Okay, and last one is back up all your critical data into your internal with a partition memory or an external source. So in case if you're not in a position to recover your data, you will always have a backup where you can, either it's a shadow backup or whichever the way you want to do, you can just recover your data in terms if something is gone. And this is my conclusion, but then it's not end right here, but then I'm going to the next level where I wanted to say something about the latest technology. As the wireless technologies evolve, wireless will also advance. it is a never-ending game. It's like a war between two people. So it's not going to end. In between is us. We are as a consumer. We have to be aware, like, what are the standards to maintain, how to get away from this problem. And that's why any threat which belongs to an individual or to a corporate. That's why I mentioned that. And my recommendation. You guys know there's a CPU which does all the processing, and there's another thing called a service processing unit. I don't know how many people know about it. There's a thing called service processing unit in the system. And there's another thing called a graphics processing unit. And if somebody is going to be interested in future, yes, I'm going to introduce something called a security processing unit, which is an intrusion detection system. If you're aware, like the graphics processing unit is emerged from a technology called just a graphic processor. It started with an 8-bit system, and then it evolved to 16-bit, 64-bit, 128-bit, and then it's just the one area where people are interested in more to entertainment, and that is integrated with the system on the CPU. It is a separate CPU. It is not before, it was getting signals from the CPU, but now that's a separate processor. It's a processor. It's a graphics processing unit. So I was just thinking the same way. This is evolving. So why not a security processing unit? So I'm looking at this as a threat than this. This is entertainment. This is a threat to your system. So I will mostly look into this than this. Okay. So this security processing unit, what it does, it will have all these scripts actually. Whenever I talk to people, they say like, you see a phishing site, you see a unsecured site, just leave that site, just close that browser. Okay. I'm looking at the security processing unit. They have all these forms of scripts to be inbuilt. This is what your external antivirus or anti-malware is doing it. So I was just inputting this into a system where this central processing unit is the main brain of the system, which sends the data to the memory. In between these guys is. So he will filter all the data which is sending to the memory. By filtering that, anyone sends any kind of malware, it will be taken from the root level. So if a person, like if you're downloading a software and application from an online source, from an unknown source, from an illegal source, you are not aware that the piece of application, say Adobe CS3, you wanted to download today, you will be looking, you use the search tool to identify the server where it is available, and then you download that. Once you download it, it is in a zip format. You don't know what is inside. What I'm saying is, what is inside is Adobe software. I understand someone cracked it, and behind there is another malicious code involved in it. So when you extract the software, you are going to install the Adobe software, but the malicious script will automatically install right behind, which no one aware of it. It's just a small tool. It's an auto-exec tool. It's an auto-bot. So it will automatically execute. So I'm trying to look at that small thread that this information, this security processing unit will stop that particular operation from the processing level, not from the user level. So normally your antivirus will always tell you, you want to execute, when it says something, when we see some security problem, it will say, do you want to execute or no? You have the option as a user to execute it or no. That is the reason why it is injecting this malicious code. But in this level, you cannot. It will stop that program from functioning. So, and people might ask, graphical processing unit is just a one-time install, and this is ongoing. So every day the security threat is changing. Yes, I agree. So if you're looking at any hardware platform, the firmware changes for any system, because the company sends you a firmware and then you flash it to the memory. Same thing is going to happen here. It's on a flash ROM. So when the information is available, when there is a new malware, when there is a new threat is found, it is not that every security company has to experience a new threat. So when the new threat is found, every company create an anti-phishing or antivirus solution for that particular issue. So once it is created, this can be flashed. So that's my suggestion towards this. And